give you a little bit of the background. Dementia Friends America is an organization that's been around for a long time.
I am Deputy Director of Medina County District Library, and I sort of came into this because we heard about this training and really wanted to bring it in for the library staff. So we were able to work with Dementia Friends Summit County, and their library was very involved with that, among other nonprofits. And we had it for all of our staff at an all-staff training a couple of years ago. And we found out that we could also get Medina County noted to become a dementia-friendly county. We thought that was a great idea.
We thought that was a great idea. And we have such great partnerships with amazing groups and nonprofits like the Board of DD, like the County Home, like Senior and Adult Services and the Health Department and many, many others, Catholic Charities, that we thought this would be a great idea. So we formed our own little action council and our own group of nonprofits and people who are dedicated to the cause, trying to work with the court district. We have the county prosecutor on there. So we'll kind of go through and talk a little bit about the background and what that is for us. We, as of February in 2025, did reach our designation. We're accepted into the network as the 8th county in Ohio to be dementia friendly.
One statistic I like to throw out is we also do assessments,
health assessments for our county. So we have demographics to kind of be able to.
We have demographics. We're very.
Low key here. I can be like interrupted. So throw your hand up with questions or anything.
But we decided that we wanted to get that designation for our county.
And looking at our health assessments, we look at things each township, each village, each city for what some of the leading causes of death are. And I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, the last time we did our community health assessment for Medina County, had 3 townships where either dementia or Alzheimer's was listed as one of the top 5 leading causes of death for Medina County. The most recent community health assessment that we did for the county, which we do every couple of years, was done and I think finally released just at the end of 2024, beginning of 2025. We now have 13 individual cities, townships, or villages that have either dementia or Alzheimer's or both listed as one of the top 5 leading causes of death.
We know there's a need. We know that
there's a need. We know that Medina County is an aging community. She says we just have an older adult population that is growing. So we really wanted to do our part. And our goals for today are going to be to take away some of the 5 key messages of Dementia Friends America and Dementia Friendly Ohio, to get us more interested in kind of what are some simple tips for communication and ways of thinking and approaching people who perhaps are experiencing dementia. And maybe it's not something that has actually been diagnosed as dementia. This is something that could follow through with other different health conditions or ways of communicating with people who are maybe not typical.
So what are the first words
we all think of when we hear dementia? And you can just sort of, for the people in the room, you can shout out. If there's people in the chat who want to type something into the chat window, go right ahead. But I know she was going to walk around with the mic, but if you want to shout them out, I'll kind of repeat them. What kinds of words do you associate with dementia? Confusion, Alzheimer's, repetitiveness. Anything else? Memory loss. Anything else?
Acting out in ways you would not normally do.
Out of the ordinary, acting out in ways not typical from what your normal behavior might be, what loved ones maybe expect from you, a little different, right? Are those kind of positive connotations, positive words, when you hear them all together? Not necessarily. Victim, epidemic, devastating, loss, this negativity. So how can we maybe flip the script on that and try to look at that differently and meet some of these individuals where they are with patience, maybe not fully understanding, but with patience and slowing down and kind of approaching them in a different way. Here we go. And we are to our first video already. And he's going to hit play just as soon as he gets back, or I can run over and hit it. We're ready for our first video, Maestro. Which will hopefully work. And these were all made by Dementia Friends America, these videos that we're going to see today. And if you'd like, I can get a link to all these videos emailed out to everybody too. I can give that to Nicole and share that if you'd like to view them on your own time too. Ruh-roh. There's the video. There we go. Just make volume up a little. There we go.
Would you recognize the signs? Would you be uncomfortable? Would you avoid them? Would you be frustrated? Would you do nothing? Or would you be a friend? Would you engage them and empower them to get through their day? Would you welcome the opportunity to help them feel like a part of your community? Would you take even the smallest step to make their world less frightening or confusing? Every single one of us has a unique part to play in the lives of people living with dementia in our community. Become a dementia friend today and build communities where all people can live, age, and thrive.
Hey, Mr. Fredrickson, it's Tuesday. Aren't you going to the store?
Yeah.
Come on, I'll walk with you.
Find out more at dementiafriendsusa.org.
geared for a specific sector. For example, I presented recently to the Board of Elections, and it was like about a week before in-person early voting started. And they had me come in to a group of about 21 staff who work for the Board of Elections that were going to be working there at the board for in-person voting. And boy, that would have been a great one to have a very specific sector, specific content in the PowerPoint for. So that's something that's optional too. If you're looking for something more specific, let me know and we can reach out to our friends with Dementia Friends Ohio and they can try and help us gear it towards you. It's also cultural. It's been in a whole bunch of different languages and translated for others. So it's not, and it wasn't started in the US. So some of the basics, we're going to talk about the early signs of dementia. We're going to talk about some communication tips and tricks, and we're going to talk about the 5 key messages. But dementia is not a specific disease. Dementia is kind of that umbrella, overarching term. It's a whole wide range of different symptoms that can be associated with it, and people might not have all of them or may not have all of them at first, and they could change over time. So one of the most popular that we all hear of the most is Alzheimer's disease, most common type of dementia. It's about 60 to 80%. But there are other forms of dementia out there. Lewy bodies, frontotemporal, vascular. I believe, I have to double check this, that frontotemporal is, I think, Bruce Willis. No? Yes? And Lewy bodies was Robin Williams. And those are just some famous celebrities. I haven't read it yet, but there's a new memoir out by Bruce Willis's current wife that she's writing about caring for Bruce Willis. And I'm looking forward to reading it, hopefully after Christmas. So kind of the example of what that looks like in Alzheimer's brain. You can see the difference between that and a healthy brain, how that might affect a person's health, how they're thinking, how they're reacting. So this next video we're going to get to, I am a librarian, so I'm a little partial to a good bookcase story, but I think this does an excellent job of kind of demonstrating and giving you a good idea of what it might be like when you're speaking to somebody who might be experiencing dementia. And Maestro, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and play it. His name's Zach, it's not really Maestro. And this one might be a little quieter. If nothing else, this is a great video to share with others. And it's short and it gives a good overview. There she is.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm a Dementia Friends champion, and I'm going to explain dementia to you in the way that it was explained to me. It's not a scientific explanation, but it should give you some insight into how dementia might affect someone. But remember, dementia affects each person in different ways. First of all, I'd like you to imagine that I'm 80 years old, and that beside me there's a bookcase that's as tall as I am, and it's filled with books. Each of those books represents a memory, a fact, something that I've learned in the last 80 years. Right by my head would be my most recent memories, maybe what I had for breakfast this morning. By my shoulders, I might have my 60s, maybe my retirement party. By my knees, I'd probably have my 20s, so maybe when I met my partner. And then all the way down by my feet would be my childhood memories, maybe my first day of school. Dementia rocks my bookcase. So as it rocks my bookcase, what do you think is likely to happen to those books? They're going to fall out, aren't they? And which ones do you think are likely to fall out first? The ones at the top. So that might explain why my short-term memory would be affected first. As my dementia progresses, I might find that my most recent memories, that's to say, the books that are highest on my bookcase, being from further down, from earlier in my life. Now, say I've got to the point where all of my top shelves are empty and I'm living in the 1950s. I want you to embrace my reality. I'm going to go into my kitchen today and try and make myself a cup of tea. But remember, I think I'm living in the 1950s. So what's going to be different about my kitchen? You're probably thinking the layout, the appliances. Now remember, I want to make tea. The kettle, right? It's likely to be electric rather than a whistling kettle that you put on the hob. You might see me, when you come round one day, filling up my electric kettle and doing what with it? Putting it on the hob. Now say that you're my loved one, my carer, my friend, and you see me doing this, you might be tempted to say, you cannot make your own tea anymore, it's just too dangerous. But how might that make me feel? I might feel sad, frustrated, like I'm losing my independence, thirsty. Now, as I said, embrace my reality. What could you do differently to help me to make my own tea for longer? You could buy me a whistling kettle. Now, of course, I'm not saying that's going to help everybody at different points in their dementia, but at this point, it would help me. So this just goes to show how embracing my reality can really help me to live well with my dementia. From what you've heard so far, you might think that someone with dementia loses everything. But actually, that's because I've only told you about one part of the brain. I've told you about my factual bookcase. Now, this represents my hippocampus. That's the part of my brain where I manage factual and biographical data, so things like names and faces and dates and numbers. And unfortunately, it's built of really flimsy wood and is not very resistant to dementia, which is why it's going to rock so much. And I'm more likely to lose those books. However, there's another part of my brain that manages my feelings and my emotions. That part of the brain is called the amygdala, and it's much more resistant to dementia. So I'd like you to picture that as a separate bookcase, but that is made of solid oak. So even though it will be rocked, the contents will be safer for longer. Now let me explain to you how the two bookcases work together. Say when I was a child, I had a teacher, so the fact of that teacher is going to go way down by my feet on my factual bookcase, but the way he made me feel, which was inspired and like I could do anything in my life, is going to go on the emotional bookcase. Let me give you some examples of how that might work today when I have dementia. So think again, you're my loved one, my carer, my friend, and you come round and we have a blazing row. We have a really big argument because I've forgotten your name. Now the fact of that argument is going to go on my factual bookcase. What feelings do you think are going to go onto my emotional bookcase? Sadness, anger, frustration. And as you go home, you might think, doesn't matter, she's going to forget that we had the argument and that I shouted at her. And you're right, I probably will. But what's likely to stay with me are those feelings of sadness and anger and frustration with nothing to connect it to. I'm going to leave you with a positive example. So I'd like you to picture that you've come to visit me, we've gone out to the seaside, we had an ice cream, we had a brilliant day, and I feel safe and warm and loved. But on the way home, I've forgotten the ice cream and I've forgotten the day out, and you might think, it's just not worth visiting anymore. But look, you've left me with those feelings of happiness and safety and love, and that's what really matters. At Dementia Friends, we want to encourage everybody who knows someone with dementia to continue to visit and spend time with people with dementia and help them to live well. And always remember, there is more to the person than the dementia. Thank you.
This is the Sato Nice Quality Made.
I love a good bookcase story. Ooh, it just got loud. So I just think that demonstrates it perfectly, that whole idea of there's books up here, there's books down there, you're factual over here, but then you've got how it makes you feel and the nice heavy oak wood that's not going to rock as much. Some might still fall off, but you're still going to have that feeling or have that association. That memory is going to stay with you a little bit more. And what frustration that must be for an individual who maybe doesn't know what to link that to. We had a fight, I'm sad, I'm upset, but I don't necessarily remember that we had that fight yesterday or why. I just know it made me feel bad. And to just keep coming back and to keep associating, to keep visiting, and to keep that in mind when you're interacting with folks who are maybe experiencing that with a level of patience and kind of talking yourself through that. So one thing that she mentioned is about being a dementia champion, a Dementia Friends champion. So part of the Dementia Friends Ohio is that they work with the Ohio Council for Cognitive Health, who's now made Dementia Friendly Ohio an initiative, and we applied as a county and got into that. Part of that was also for us to create a league of champions. So I've been designated a Dementia Friends champion. I went through an additional training. I am not a healthcare professional. I'm a librarian. So although I have no healthcare experience in my career, I had like 15 years of serving the public and working with one-on-one frontline folks every day for the first 15 years of my career. And that's what I kind of apply this to. So all it means is that we've gone through a little bit extra training to become champions, and any champion who is part of the network can come out and do this training for you guys. So I just wanted to give a little shout out to that too. All right. And all right. So we're going to talk about the 10 early signs and symptoms of dementia. It can be hard to differentiate because sometimes there's just signs of aging. And there can be a little bit of crossover, but there's going to sometimes be a difference to that too. We can't necessarily diagnose people. If someone walked into the library and I was helping them, it really doesn't matter if they're diagnosed with dementia, they're just maybe having signs of old age, or something else is going on. I'm still going to try to just be patient and offer them the best service I can when they're in front of me, right? So a lot of these tips we're going to eventually get to can be applicable in a couple different situations. So let's get into like the early signs here. First early sign being memory loss that disrupts your daily life, meaning that it makes it hard to function. It really is getting in the way. Not just I lost my keys or I forgot where I left something or I forgot a name of somebody I just met recently, but something that is really recently learned information that's going to kind of get in the way of something I need to do. Typical aging, that can happen as well. Second early sign, challenges in planning or solving problems. So maybe you're making schedules for medical appointments, forgetting to write things on your calendar when you have a ride who's picking you up to go to the grocery store, forgetting to renew prescriptions or forgetting to pick up the prescriptions when you get that notice, which can affect their health, or even forgetting to pay bills occasionally. Things like not knowing to seek your medical care or maybe even refusing it. Versus we all may forget our dental appointment now and then. We all forget we've scheduled that lunch with friends or we have an extra meeting, especially when we're really busy. Third early sign, difficulty completing familiar tasks at home, at work, or at leisure. Household chores, maybe unloading the dishwasher, maybe forgetting to take the laundry out of the laundry washer. Words escape me. Washing machine. And gosh, don't I do that? I mean, we all do that. We can all connect with the idea of frustration when you forget to do something simple. So some of that could be typical aging signs, but we all need an occasional help in there. However, is it really challenging them to meet their self-care needs? And that's where, might be kind of getting into that territory of early sign of dementia. Fourth early sign, confusion with time or places. So maybe you arrive very early but don't realize you've arrived early, or you're late or maybe miss an appointment altogether. Potentially losing track of the month or the year. I came in today, looked at the calendar and said, oh my gosh, it's December 2nd. When did that happen? We all fall prey to that, right? We all can lose track of time. It's a very normal thing. Fifth early sign, trouble understanding visual images and spatial relationships. Judging distances that could affect driving. Stairs may become an issue where you're not on stairs that you're used to and maybe the depth is a little bit different, or maybe they're a light gray with not a lot of contrast, so they're a little bit harder to gauge with your foot, where if you have stairs in your apartment that you walk every day, maybe that's not so much of a problem or a challenge for you. But having trouble bumping into furniture, tripping and falling, especially in an environment that you're maybe used to being in, maybe an early sign of dementia. Versus, well, we all have to have our eyes checked and increase and get our readers or get new prescriptions. That's just part of aging. Dementia can affect your vision and your balance, though, and that's a sign sometimes people can miss. Sixth early sign, new problems with words in speaking or writing. So difficulty finding the right words, those long pauses, maybe a repetition of a sound, or just silence while they're chewing it over in their brain to try to think of what the right word is. Can maybe be misconstrued as awkward pauses when really they're just searching, trying to think of what the word may be. Maybe embarrassing for them. They don't want to say the wrong word. They don't want to feel bad about choosing the wrong word, so they're taking their time, maybe with reading and writing, the same kind of reaction. And then typical aging, well, we all have trouble finding the wrong word or the right word sometimes. We can all have that happen. Seventh early sign, misplacing things, losing the ability to retrace your steps. So I lose my keys, but I can go, oh, when did I have them last? I know, okay, I came home yesterday, I walked in, I was going to put them on the thing where I put them on the hook, but my husband ran up to me just as the kid was running up to me, and then I put that down, and then the dog, and so, okay, I walked away. But where, I know, I bet you I left it on the floor because I had to stop to do that thing with my kid and take my shoes off. Hey, there they are, they're on the floor. Once you start to that becomes very difficult, or you can't retrace steps, may be a sign of early dementia. We all lose things from time to time. Eighth early sign, decreased or poor judgment. Something that we have in Medina County, raise your hands if you have heard of Scam Squad. Please keep them in mind too. So Tommy Condoza, who is the assistant county prosecutor, is on our coalition. He's the one that linked us up with the Board of Elections. He works with Scam Squad, and if you haven't heard of them, I'm glad many of you have. They are a hotline that he partnered with Senior and Adult Services for the county. So if you feel you are experiencing some kind of a scam, like a, hey, grandma, come pick me up, I'm in jail, I need you to wire me money, here's the number, or email scams, or send money here, give me your credit card number, your Christmas gift got returned from the postal office, whatever it is, you can call and report it and he'll help you out. Folks with dementia or early signs of dementia can easily fall prey to things like that. So you can even call for another person and let Scam Squad know about it if you're concerned about a loved one or a care partner. Typical aging, well, we all make a bad call here and there, but something where you're maybe dressing inappropriately, as in you forget your coat, or maybe even wear a coat when it's hot outside. More commonly, it might be very cold and they're not wearing the proper kind of coat for the temperature outside. And just kind of a general lack of awareness for personal safety could be an early sign of dementia. Ninth early sign, withdrawal from work or social activities, disengagement, again, feeling maybe embarrassed or not wanting to have that awkward pause or not wanting to feel bad if they forget the name of someone they're newly introduced to at a social event. Sometimes they may refuse to allow visitors into their residence. Versus typical aging, well, we all once in a while need our alone time. That's okay. We deserve that. But if it's really becoming noticeable that they're really withdrawing, that could be a sign of early dementia as well. All right, almost done. 10th early sign, changes in mood or personality. This was an example a gentleman in the back brought up about maybe they're just not behaving as you're normally used to experiencing. A big change in personality, shift in mood. Typical aging, we all change over time. Sometimes specific things that we do can make us irritable when they didn't before, or if our routine is disrupted, it can make us irritable. But a real major switch might be a sign of early dementia as well. Any questions so far as I'm flying through this? Okay, so the 5 key messages, and that's something that's on your sheet that you guys are going to take home with you, that dementia is not a natural part of aging. Dementia is caused by diseases of the brain. It is not just about losing your memory. It is possible to live well with dementia, and there is more to the person than the dementia. That's one of the things they said right away in that first video. And this is our last video we'll have to show for the night. And this is a great example of folks who have
I found myself saying something or trying to say something, and then I realized that the word didn't even fit in that I said or something like that. So I just kept, thinking about it, and it didn't happen every day. It didn't happen, hardly at all. And then it just kept getting a little bit worse and a little bit worse.
I think some of the family members thought something was off, I guess. Did any of them think dementia? Probably not.
When you're used to doing things and doing it right and doing it, and and all of a sudden, you can't remember this, and you can't, what is your name? It's like a dark area. It's just like being in darkness,
And I think everybody that with this disease, people walk away from them. They're afraid they're going to catch it, like measles or mumps. And that bothers me that they do that.
I have to be aware that any moment my brain might not tell me where to go.
My first reaction was that I'm going to beat this disease.
I can't spell anything like I used to be able to just spell, you just write a check. Now I'm not clear what the thing is, how you do it or anything. All that stuff that I thought I was so good at is gone, or on the way gone.
Remembering names, I think that's the biggest issue with me.
People sometimes would kind of look at you kind of strange because I'm not saying what they want me to say or talk the way they want me to talk.
When I started putting my shirts on backwards, that was one of my early signs too.
Walking, that's why I have a cane now, and because I have a tendency to rock sideways, and I don't want to trip or fall.
Darkness is not good for me, and I tend to trip or fall, and my coordination isn't as it used to be.
Oh, I don't cook anymore either, because when I cook, and it doesn't matter if someone's in the house or not, I just start cooking and I forget about using, what do you use when you cook? What? Stove. The stove. I forget every time to turn it off. Every time I've cooked, no matter who's there.
Right now, like I'm doing really good because I have someone that takes care of me really good,
Be active in the community still. Go to yoga, do things like that. Don't do it so well, but that's okay.
Staying active, even a little bit active, keeps you interested.
And I like to be around people.
When people would struggle, I'd go over and help them. And I found it very uplifting to help other people.
You know, you can't deny this disease. If you deny it, you're going to get in trouble.
The singing is very, very good to the brain. We know that. And the more we can do that, the better off we'll be.
People that have dementia, I think, are very unique. And I think they have a lot to offer still.
It's an attitude here. You have to get up in the morning and say, okay, I got to do this today, even if it's just one thing.
I can say to a person that it's going to be all right. And I can say to a person that depend on God. Because with God, everything is possible.
I'm not ashamed of it. And nobody should be. I mean, I had cancer. Was I ashamed of having cancer? No. Why would I be? You know? Why should I be ashamed of having dementia?
I've lasted 14 years with this disease. It's not going to go away. I accept that. Only thing I guess with my future is that I'll work as hard as I can to stay alive and function.
Of the woman when she's talking about cooking, and clearly
Hello, my name
somebody
is
off
Kevin
camera
Rogers. I'm one of the SOC designers.
is sitting there waiting, and she's thinking, okay, and she's trying to work through it. What's the word? It's the stove, but she can't think of the word, but she knows she's talking about cooking. And he waited until she looked and said, what is it? And asked for help, and then he offered stove. Yes, the stove, thank you. But even just that little tiny, give her a minute, let her talk. When she wants help, she'll ask for it if she feels comfortable with me, and clearly she was. My guess is that's a partner or care partner of some sort.
Hey, Susie, we have a question from
Yeah.
online. Someone asked, are the early signs in order or can they occur in any order?
They can occur in any order. And it could be one without the other at first. It could be a couple. They could get worse over time. Yeah, any order. Good question. Any other question?
It's not a question, it's a comment that I like to tell people that I've found that...
Oh, Mike, hold on. Thank you.
It's just a comment that I have because I work with the elderly, and many have dementia, but the one is confusion with time or places. When I ask the alert and oriented questions and I ask like the month and the year, if someone were to tell me December 1925, I would not find that to be a huge problem because a majority of their life was spent in the 1900s. So, I mean, give them a second and then they'll be like, oh, no, that's 2025.
Yeah, and that's where the brain went first.
Yes, but I always just like to point out that, like, because most people would be like, oh my God, back in 1925, like, but that's actually really not a big issue. Just most of the years that they were in was in the 1900s. So that's
Thank you.
Just a comment.
Thank you for sharing. That's excellent. And that kind of speaks to the kettle too. Well, gosh, we can't let her boil tea anymore. We have to take her away from that stove, or we can't. No, she can have her dignity. She can still operate. Let's try this first. What else could we try? Just give her the regular old tea kettle. I still used a tea kettle for a long time. I only got on board with electric recently, and now I'll never go back. But so just don't let her have the electric tea kettle. If she can't learn that, if that can't stick in her brain, let's do what she's used to. Let's give her that pattern that she can function with and still be able to make her own tea. Yeah, that's a great example. One thing we talked about at the Board of Elections was they would have folks come in with partners who would say, she has dementia, but she's here to vote. I'm going to stay with her and help her. And they'd say, okay. And they also would offer voting in your car, where they can bring the ballot, paper ballot to you if it's not comfortable, or if you start inside and you get really flustered and you need to reread an issue or reread candidates because you're forgetting, they would offer to end your ballot, pull it, and say, why don't you go out into the car and take a moment and then come back, or we'll bring the ballot out to you in the car and let you vote that way. Because they would have a man come in who was sure he was voting for the 1950s election. And that was a hard one to say, well, no, it's not the 1950s. Are you kidding me? Like, no, which obviously nobody would take that approach. But to kind of say, well, actually, if you'd like to see a list of the candidates, they're all right here on the wall, but it is kind of small. If you'd be more comfortable, why don't you go out to your car and you can review it there and then come back when you're ready. Actually, these are the candidates that we're voting on today. So no, thank you for sharing. So you talk about routine or you talk about changes. So we're going to talk a little bit about day-to-days. And for those of you who work with individuals with dementia or care partners in some way, I'd love to hear your examples here. This will be a little tricky for the folks online, so you might just have, I'll kind of just repeat what people call out. But if we were going to do instructions for somebody on how to wash their laundry, think about all the different steps you go through. You have to open the lid, you have to place the dirty clothes in the washer, you have to fill up to the blue line, but maybe you need a different kind of detergent based on what kind of clothes that you're washing. Do you need your Woolite for your darks? Is it okay to use regular all? Do you need sensitive because somebody has sensitive skin? Press the yellow button. Are all the buttons the same color and there are no colored buttons? Things like that. Do we have to label things? Stuff to keep in mind. And then what if they were very, very used to that? Bless you. And you have to change their location. So now they're maybe living in a facility or they're living with someone who's caring for them. And now they have a different washer and that might throw them. Well, I could do laundry at home at my old washer, but now I have to learn something new. So we're going to do an exercise. I'm going to give you like a minute. You guys can jot down if you want or just kind of think in your brain. And then I'm going to have you shout out the steps as if you were, this is like the peanut butter and jelly example with kids, right? But let's pretend we want to tell somebody how to brush their teeth. We're giving them instructions on how they're going to brush their teeth independently on their own. So kind of think that over in your head. What would the steps be? And then I'll be calling for participation. How would you describe it to someone? Specifically, someone with dementia. All right, just one more minute and then a couple seconds, we'll dive in. Excuse me. All right, so let's kind of dive into that so we have time to get to everything. Just go ahead and shout out somebody, the first couple steps. What would be the first couple steps what would your list sound like?
Turn the water on, grab the blue toothbrush.
Turn the water on, grab the blue toothbrush. Someone else said something?
Go to the sink in the bathroom.
Go to the sink. Yeah, where's the water? Go to the sink in the bathroom. Which bathroom? Is there more than one bathroom? Something to think about. Or which sink? So we said bathroom sink. Good. Okay, where's the blue toothbrush? On the counter. Okay, always on the counter because it could be in a drawer. Where's the toothpaste?
In the drawer.
In the drawer. Okay. What other steps do we have? Turn the water on. Maybe wet the toothbrush.
Open the toothpaste. Yeah, open the toothpaste.
Open the toothpaste. Screw top or not screw top? Twist off. Okay, screw top. Uncap it, unscrew it. All right.
Squeeze the toothpaste on the brush.
Uh-huh.
Put the cap back on or close the toothpaste.
Put the cap back on, close the toothpaste. Turn off the sink. What about denture care? Are there dentures involved? So you have to locate the bathroom, find out which bathroom, if there's more than one. Do we have to open the door? Do we keep the door closed? Turn on the light. Locate your tooth. Yeah, some people might. But maybe they're in a new place. Maybe the vision is not there like it used to be. So is it on the counter, a cupboard, a drawer? Which one? Is it something where it would be appropriate to maybe label the drawer? Is that something they'd be open to? Could we label the drawer with a Post-it note? Or maybe even have the instructions on a sheet of paper on the mirror or in the drawer that they can consult if they get a little forgetful on what the steps are or where things are. Wet the toothbrush, turn off the water, take lid off. Yep, we did pretty good. That's not bad, guys. Recap it. Is it an electric toothbrush? What if it's dead? We'll just brush without it. It's okay. Do you have to tell them upper first, back? Don't forget. How long? Set a timer. And not to make them feel juvenile, but because we care about them and we want them to be able to care for themselves too and be able to do as much as they can on their own. But remembering all the steps in the self-care might be difficult for them. Flossing, do we have to floss? Mouthwash, you can see we could go on and on. And once you finish up, do we have to put all the products back where you found them? All right. So things to keep in mind when we're doing, when we're communicating with folks. Good? Oh, question, sorry.
Well, it's more of a comment
Yeah.
too, is when you get them into they're into the bathroom, know which tube is toothpaste and not something medicated.
Yep, because there's going to be maybe some other medicines in there too that they also need.
So with some of our clients, we have pictures.
Good.
With the toothbrush.
With labels.
Right, yeah.
So someone just said they have, for their clients, labels and photos of what the toothpaste is versus medicine that might be something they need too. Or maybe different tubs, different containers. This is the tub for tooth stuff, for tooth care, for oral care. This is the tub for medicine or, you know, whatever, lotions, whatever the case may be. So when we're going through this kind of communication, to keep in mind facial expressions when we're talking to them and what listening looks like. So having eye contact, being mindful of our body language, checking in with ourselves. Are we getting frustrated and are we starting to tense a little? We don't want to, but we're human. It happens. Whether we know the person really well or not. Maybe when we know the person really well, it's a lot easier to get that tense quicker versus with the stranger that we're meeting. Maybe don't stand too close, but stand close enough so they can hear you if maybe hearing you is a problem. They may want to be able to see your mouth to understand you better when you're speaking, and to speak slowly. Clearly, try to remain as calm as possible, short, simple sentences, and at a slightly lower pace. Avoid speaking that sharpness to your voice. Boy, do I lose it with my dad quickly and easily. He is definitely showing signs of aging. I don't know that he is showing signs of dementia, but some of this definitely correlates over to him as well. I had a grandfather who had dementia and died from Alzheimer's eventually, and it happened quick for him. But I'll kind of give some examples of that too as if we go further down. Listening carefully, giving encouragement, maybe giving visual cues if that looks like that might be something they need. That example again from the video where she kind of looks off camera and asks for help, and then he steps in to offer a suggestion of what it is she might be saying. So treat that person with dignity and respect. We don't want to talk past the person or pretend like they're not, you know, in the room with us if we're talking with other care partners about their plan. Being aware of your feelings, again, checking in when you can sense that you're getting maybe a little tense or frustrated too, even if it's just a take a breath. Be patient, be supportive, let that person know, I am listening, I'm trying to help, I'm trying to understand, reassure them. I'm not trying to be rude, I just want to best understand you so I can help you get what you need. And the patience and waiting. So I don't know if that's going to work, so I'm going to do it on my phone. If you were to ask me, say, a question, Amy, why don't you ask me what time my doctor's appointment is?
Susie, what time's your doctor's appointment?
My doctor's appointment is at 4 o'clock tomorrow. And that was 20 seconds. And how long that could, because I might fill the silence, I might just be silent while I'm thinking. It could be whatever question, but kind of how that can feel on the other end, those 20 seconds of silence. But sometimes that's just what you need to give them when you can. Now, if there's a dangerous situation, yeah, bless you. If there's a danger, you might not be able to have, oh no, stop, traffic. So sorry, I really didn't want you to get hurt. I had to stop you and grab you before something bad happened. Oh, it is doing the counter. Last time it didn't work, so I just did my own. Whoop. All right, offer comfort, offer reassurance, listen to your tone, listen to your phrasing, your cadence. Avoid criticizing or correcting. Maybe don't tell the person that he or she is saying incorrect, but instead try to find the meaning on what's being said. Well, it's not 1950. That's not who's running for election right now, but instead, actually, Gary, let me show you who is on the election ballot. It's not him. We're not doing that, but here's who is on the ballot this year. Trying to redirect them and offer maybe ideas or suggestions. And try to avoid arguing. If the person says something you don't agree with, just sometimes you have to let it be, because arguing can sometimes exasperate that and make it a little bit worse. Sometimes offer a guess if they are looking like they need some assistance with that, they're using the wrong word or can't find the wrong word. Maybe try guessing in a good tone, in a nice, calm tone, but also give them that patience and time to come up with it on their own. And maybe encourage nonverbal communication. Maybe if you don't understand what's being said, ask them, could you show me? Could you point me? Could you take me there? I'll tell you what's happened at the library as an example is sometimes we would like move bookshelves. We shift books. Talk about the bookshelf analogy, a legit bookshelf. We might move the history books over here because we're shifting and they're all in order. It's Dewey, so everything's in numerical order, but now the 400s have shifted around the corner of the exact same shelf because we moved it down, okay? And someone might come in and they're like, but my history books, they're gone. Why'd you get rid of my history books? Oh, I didn't get rid of your history books. What ones are you looking for? Well, the ones over there. And I'm thinking, well, I know there's history books over there. Well, they're over here. They're over here. Walk me over and show me so I can help you find the ones that you're looking for today. And we walk down there and I'm looking, do you remember what topics? No, I just know they're here. And I can look at, oh, we did that shifting project. Let's go around the corner. Do any of these look familiar? Yeah, okay. That kind of thing can happen too. Maybe it's dementia, maybe it's not, but it could be. So that nonverbal communication, show me, point, walk me over there, it can be a nice tool to have. Come from the front, maybe identify yourself, try to keep eye contact if you can. They may not hear you walking up behind them, so it maybe help the individual if they can see your whole face. This was during COVID with masks, probably difficult for many who need to see your mouth and your lips if maybe hearing isn't an easy thing for them, or they need time to process and understand. They need to kind of think slowly and watch your lips as you're saying the words. And then again, short, simple phrases. Try not to change topics really quick if you're having conversations. Boy, I'm bad at that. I do it all the time in just daily interactions, but to try to stay focused and then change. We're going to change the topic now and talk about this other thing related to your care, related to our day that we're going to do today. Any other questions yet? Comments? Repeat information once if necessary. Limit questions if you can. But if you have to, you might have to ask questions follow-up to make sure you're understanding them, but maybe just go slowly, one question at a time. Well, what is it you want? Do you want this? Did you want was it a salad? Did you want the chicken salad, or did you not want the chicken salad? Or did you want the salad with the tuna, or did you want the fried chicken, or did you want the chicken breast? Did you want it grilled? Slow down. Try to offer options, but one at a time. Don't give them too much to process at once. Speak slowly, again, with that gentle tone, and patiently wait for a response. One example with my grandfather that we had was we would pick him up. We got to a point where me and my husband would pick him up to take to my mom's house. And she had moved like twice in the past 2 years after living in the same place for 20, 30 years. And we took him over, and he walked in the front door. He knew he was with me and my husband. He was pretty sure I was his relative. He liked us very much. We were nice people. We got him to my mom's house. He recognized my mom, but he would just lean over and go, "Hon, where are we again? Whose house is this?" He knew we were at a house. It felt safe and warm. He was enjoying himself. He kind of knew some of the people there. He didn't remember all of the people, or would have moments where he would, but he had no idea why he was there. And I think it's because she had moved so often in the last couple of years, and he had been to all those places, and then he had to move into a facility too, and I just confused him a little bit more. But he would just go, "Okay," and it wasn't 5 minutes later, "Where are we again?" We're at your daughter's house. We're at mom's. I'm her daughter. We're at mom's." He was like, "Oh, are we now? Isn't that fantastic?" Like, he just thought that was great. And then 10 minutes later, he might ask again, "Oh, that's right. It's Jan's house, Jan's house." So provide a statement rather than maybe ask a question sometimes. We see that at the library in service. You could see that. Someone's just kind of wandering around. Any person wandering around. "What can I help you find today?" And they don't know what it is you want to find. Well, where you are right now, the bathrooms are right down here, so you're near the bathrooms. If you need to go downstairs, the elevator is right behind you. We have books and computers. Were you coming in to do something or just to sit in the library for a little while? And then maybe they might go, "Oh, that's right, I'm here for my program or computer class. I need to check my email," whatever. Avoid confusing, vague statements about something you want the person to do. Speak directly. Please open the door. Instead of, "Don't forget your hat. Here, let me get you your hat. Here's your hat." Instead of, "Don't do that. Don't go down that hallway. That's for staff only. Oh gosh, why don't we go over here where all the rest of the patrons are? That's where we hang out in the library. We hang out over here. Let's walk down here." Turn negatives into positives if you can. Again, go here and not, "Don't do that. Do this instead." Give visual cues if you can. Point, touch to items. Maybe ask them to follow you and walk somewhere to show them something. Try using written notes and pictures. That was a great example you gave of having labels with pictures for the toothpaste in their home, maybe in their wallet of something that they need to keep them reminded of what they're doing. And maybe avoid quizzing them. Reminiscing is great. That can be healthy. But if it could agitate them or make them feel bad if you're, "Come on, let's talk about it. What do you remember? What do you remember? They're on a roll. Tell me more. I want to learn more." Let them do it in their time and their cadence. Okay, so now we're to the 5 key messages again. So just shout out the answers. Dementia is not a natural part of aging. Dementia is caused by diseases of the brain. Dementia is not just about losing your memory. It is possible to, and there is, okay. So what we ask of you now that you've gone through this session, you guys all have a fancy certificate you can take with you. Nicole has a copy of the certificate as well for anybody who's online. You can certainly email it to them as well. We just ask that you try to keep in mind what we talked about today, the fact that we are a dementia-friendly county, and we are trying to remind folks to be more inclusive for those people who maybe need us to think about things a little differently. So just go out, get in touch with someone else you do know living with dementia, offer support to those people. Tell other people you had this session and that we might be able to come out and do the session for them as well. We are recording it and putting it on YouTube, so Nicole can give you access to that. Share the bookcase video with someone, but anything small you can do to help your community be a little bit more friendly towards those with dementia would be great. Even if it's just remembering to be patient, slow down, and speak calmly. I will mention we saw a bunch of folks who were people who were living with dementia, You can always talk to your doctor about getting screened for this, to talk about your health personally, so that's something to keep in mind. They give you lots of ideas for things like cognitive fitness and physical fitness, listening to music, singing, playing music, walking, yoga, even if you're not very good at it, as she put that. Anything else for emotional well-being that can reduce stress can all help. There's no cure necessarily, but these are all things that may help you in the long run if you're just trying to think about your own health. And sleep. A lot of sleep is good for your brain. And there is a website on there if you want more examples for that. And then it's a whole bunch of different resources. I kind of go through that because on your guide there, you have specific Medina County websites and resources. And you can also follow on Facebook, Dementia Friends America or Dementia Friends Ohio. And one of the things I like to show, again, I'm flying through this. We do have kits like this at all of our branches in Medina County District Library. So if you visit any of our branches, we do have memory care kits. We also have Reading to Connect, which are adult books that are written that are shorter. They're not like children's books, but they have larger print, more space and blank spaces on the page with some photographs about different topics like nonfiction, history, cooking, gardening, that are good for people of different cognitive levels. So those are things that you can check out in sets for your facility. If you'd like to take that back to your facility, you can check those out, or you can come just check them out and give them to someone who wants to read them at home. So I like to mention that we have very similar kits like this at all of the libraries. And I want to show you the name. Again, you have a lot of this on your thing, so I'm just flying through it. I wanted to get to my name of my people. Okay, Elizabeth Kinzig, Marty Williman, the bottom two names there, those are the folks who we worked the most with on getting ourselves set up to be dementia-friendly community. They were very helpful. They're a great resource. I reach out to them with questions. We check in as champions and leads for the counties about once every month on Zoom just to talk about what trainings we're doing, give tips to each other. So we're very connected to other counties too. Although I'm very proud to say we were the 8th county, there's a lot of people who have been doing this work longer than we have in Medina. So I reach out to them for tips and tricks and resources too. Their information's right there if you're ever interested in talking to them. I also worked a lot with Barb White, who was the former deputy director from Summit County Public Library. And she really helped set up Summit County to be dementia friendly too. And thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being interested in the topic. If I can be of any help to any of you or your agencies, let us know. Amy's one of my champions here. Yes, you're a champion. So we're just trying to get out there and help and spread the word and do what we can. So thank you very much. Any other questions?
There's a question online.
Okay.
Somebody asked, do you have any advice on how to help loved ones with Down syndrome, developmental disability, and dementia?
I mean, I don't have a lot of experience in that other than what we see in the library. So does anybody here have any tips or tricks on that? Examples, ideas, experience that you've had with that? I mean, I can tell you in the library, again, we don't know what. We're not asking. Sometimes parents tell us or caregivers tell us. We just speak slow. We try to meet them where they're at. We try to be patient. We don't take anything personal. If it seems maybe they're not listening or they lose interest in a conversation, we try to talk to them as much as we can and not just the care partner, or try to talk to both of them at the same time. Oh, what are you looking for today, Bill? Is that what it sounds like Bill's looking for? Does that sound familiar, Ma? Okay, Bill, Ma, you want to go walk over and see if we can find that? You just never know. And sometimes we just have to remind them of expectations and behavior. Oh, like we know they're going to be behaving differently than maybe some other folks. But oh, we do have library rules. We do have to be careful of the other people here too, and just reinforce it. But have patience and understanding, and we want you here too. And we really do welcome you and your family, and we're happy to have you. And you deserve to be out in the public in any service industry or the library. And that's, I don't know, anyone have any suggestions, examples, experience?
I mean, I think a lot of, what you covered really applies to,
It can. I agree.
Across anyone.
Okay, great.
Any
other
questions from anyone here in the room before we wrap up? Okay. Well, I don't know if our mics are going to give feedback. Big thank you to Suzie again for coming out this evening and talking with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you to all of you who made it here in the cold and the snow, and everyone who joined us online. Like I said, we will send a follow-up email. Please be sure to check your junk email. I think it comes through Constant Contact, and it's been going to people's junk emails. So it will have a link to the recording from today's session. It will have all of the handouts that Suzie had today, as well as a follow-up survey. And please feel free to give us some info about what you would like to see, if there's other trainings or presentations you would like us to be having here. This wraps up our last training for this year. So no more events for this year. So look out for what we have going on in 2026, which sounds so far away, but it's not. So be safe, have a great evening, and thank you again.
My contact info I didn't give, but I am happy to answer questions, or if you have any questions after today, it's just my last name, Muniak @mcdl.info. Or if you go to the library and look under the staff listings, you can find me. I'm on there too. Happy to answer questions. @mcdl.info for Medina County District Library.info. Sorry, forgot to mention